Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of The Established Facts.
Tracy's over there dancing.
I know.
He was doing the
I
YMCA
know.
with
I
me.
know. It's good.
That opening music is awesome.
It is
Right?
good.
I was dancing on the way here just thinking about this recording.
Oh, okay.
I'm so excited about this recording. It's been far too long. So before we go into what we're going to talk about, let's go ahead and go around the mics. And we'll introduce our guest right before me. So we'll go around the table first and then introduce our guest. So starting with you, mister, across the table from me.
This is Josh.
This is Dr. Deb.
I am Dragonland's Heinzelman.
Oh my gosh.
Every time. Every time.
That's it. And we are joined today with...
This is Tracy Hickman broadcasting live from the Dragonhearth Studios. Studio is actually my room in my office, right? Which, when you actually get down to it, it is the one room in the house that my wife would let me have.
That sounds
It's
about
also a
right.
tax write-off if your
That-
office is in your home.
That's right. That actually sounds like...
It is also
Joe
the
McMillan.
smallest room in my house. I'm sorry. That's just...
That's great. And of course, I am your host, Big Don. And as you can all hear, we are joined by our very good friend and one that we have missed for, has it been 2 years?
It's been at
3
least 2
years?
years, maybe 3 years since we've
Yeah.
gotten together to
20
do this. Yeah.
20,
And, it was
2018.
It was so sad too because I always looked forward to coming to Gen Con, and the night before anything happened, we would always get together and we would do this wonderful podcast, and I looked forward to it every year so that I could say something coherent before the convention started, because by the end of the convention, there was just nothing left in the gas tank. I'm sorry, I was just babbling at that point. Yeah.
It's just mud. It's all mud up there. It's just gone.
There is no
Yeah.
English by the time Sunday comes. Please
I'd be
excuse our
talking to
gentleman
waiters
the
in the
room.
restaurants, and I'd be saying things like, can I sign that for you? And, who do you want this to?
Who
That's
should
right.
I sign this to? It's the check, sir. Just your name. is fine.
Just your name is fine. Yeah. Our next Kickstarter starts in November. You check it out. Has anybody else talked to that guy? No.
No.
He's been on a rant for an hour and a half.
That's
he hasn't ordered a thing.
There's dragons and there's somebody named Margaret, and I don't know. They're connected somehow, but that's all
That's
we
right.
got.
Someone named Margaret got eaten by a dragon.
Right.
We're not sure anymore. We don't
I think
know.
my favorite moment at Gen Con was the year, and I don't mean to offend anybody by saying this, but a fellow came up to me at Gen Con and said, I need to talk to you, and I've got something really important that I've got to tell you about, something, a real opportunity here for you. Okay. And so we went aside, and he said, Hot Tub D&D. And instantly my mind is going to, what if you drop the dice? How do you find it?
Yeah.
But I listened very politely to his.
Okay.
Yeah. These are the kinds of really great ideas that sometimes are brought to us in the middle of the convention.
Yeah. That's a keeper right there.
Mm-hmm.
I keep in
As
the
in
vault and never tell
Hot
anybody
tub
about.
time machine. So time traveling D&D, or would it be like bathing suit speedo floating dice D&D?
That's what we're talking about. Bathing suit, Speedo, floating dice, D&D, and let's face it, if I'm in a hot tub for as long as my game sessions usually last, it is not a sight anybody wants to see.
That's
Things wrinkle that shouldn't wrinkle.
Right.
Oh
You
my
come
gosh.
out well done.
That's it. That's it. Well, I guess to kind of get us kicked off, because we've got a couple of things that we really want to touch on. But first, I guess it has been 3 year. So, Tracy, how have you been? Know that we have missed you.
I've missed you guys too. Like I say, I really did look forward to meeting with you guys at the beginning of Gen Con every year and talking about hopeful things.
That's right.
Because I'm very much about hope and about a better future for everyone. And so, I have missed talking about those things with everybody. It's been, of course, all of us have found the last few years to be extremely difficult and very trying for those of us who are trying to be hopeful. I was when last time, as you recall,
on our last episode.
Yeah, the last time I was on an episode, I was working at the Void, and I was the director of story there at the Void, and we were creating cutting edge VR in the location-based entertainment space, and I was working on just really amazing things, and loved that work. It's probably my favorite work that I've ever had as a professional. I got to
with your son too, that right?
I did. I got to work with my son. He was my boss, and
That's not awkward.
well, we actually talked about that at the very, very beginning. I said when he called me up to offer me a position in the company, I said, before I answer you, I need you to answer. I need you to answer one thing for me. And he said, okay. I said, there is going to come a day when either you are going to fire me or I'm going to quit. And are we going to be okay after that? And he said, yeah, I think we can do that. And I said, then all right, then let's go to work. Because it's true, jobs end. And especially, my working for my son, it was a question of time really before, one of us left at some point. So and so I worked for him, and I called him Sir or Curtis in the office, and he called me Tracy in the office, and while we were in the office, that was the way the relationship was. And then when we left, then I could be dad again. And there were times when I'd have to change hats, in midstream. But as long as we were very clear about which hat I was wearing at the time, and as long as I didn't change hats, from sentence to sentence, then things worked out really well. And it was a great time. I loved working there. But since we've spoken, COVID has taken a very broad toll on all of us. Gen Con made it impossible really for me to get to Gen Con even this year. And sadly, the Void was shuttered in 2020. We voluntarily closed all of our facilities, I believe in March, due to COVID. And then by that following December, there was just no way to continue. So the Void closed down at that time. I like to think of it as more in hibernation, because there are efforts right now, as we're speaking, actually, to bring the Void back in what I think actually is a new and better incarnation.
If you don't call that back from the Void, you're missing an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Void.
Absolutely.
Void
back from the Void. Yeah, the Void from the Void. And yes, I think that's true. And I think that there's still a lot to be said in that space, a lot more examination in that space. And truthfully, technology has moved ahead so much further than it was when we first began, that there's a lot that we can take advantage of today that we did not have available to us early on. I've got, here sitting on my desk is my Quest 2. and and the technology that's involved there is presents us opportunities. That the giant the rigs that we originally had 5 years ago that were so very much cutting edge at the time. There's so much more we can do today with the technologies as they've changed. But the essential part is still there. Yeah.
So Deb and I actually, what was it, 2019?
Yeah, it was right
November
before.
2019.
Yeah.
So we had the opportunity, thanks to my mom and dad coming down for a little bit and watching our kids. We actually went over to Disney Springs while we were at a trip in Disney World and actually had the opportunity to experience the it was Star Wars Secrets of the Empire, I believe was what it was called.
Yes.
And it was one of those like a Thursday night, 6 o'clock, because again, it was parents had the kids, so we just had to find a time to get in there. And we were the only two in there. Yeah. And they're like, well, we could wait for a few more people. I'm like, oh, we'll do it. Like, it doesn't bother us any. And I'll tell you, it was exhilarating and also extremely weird. So I am a technology nut anyways. Yes. And when I put that headset on, I'm a big guy, so of course I had to get the extending straps or whatever. I didn't care, but I put the headset on and then could hear the comm come on where my wife, who I know is standing 3 feet from me, but I cannot hear her as if she's 3 feet from me. I hear her in the radio. That immediately took me. I was like, whoa, clearly they are doing something different. And then to spend the next 20 or 30 minutes, however long the experience was, and become a stormtrooper. I looked over and my wife is a stormtrooper. Like, I watched her change into a stormtrooper.
He always knew that I was a stormtrooper. I finally proved it when we were in the void.
I guess. It was amazing. It was like nothing I've experienced. I have a PlayStation VR at home. I want to get an Oculus Quest to try that out. I've seen what VR can do, but this was on another level.
I remember saying when we were in the final scene of that, and I'm shooting my weapon and I'm going, I cannot believe we're doing this. Like, I can't believe this. And then when it was over, I wanted more, which is the other reason why I was so disappointed, because I was like, okay, there's got to be another chapter. Give us another 20 or 30 minutes, Tracy. Give us another, because I wanted to keep going in that story. And I was living in that story. Isn't that what we all want to do as gamers? Is we want to just live in the story. And it let us do that in Star Wars. And we were like two little kids being absolutely silly and having an absolute blast.
There's an actually very, very calculated progression within that first experience, by the way, that's designed to bring you into the world. The first thing that happens is that the room that's around you dissolves into a compartment on a shuttle bay. Yeah, yes. In a shuttle, and you get a hologram that appears and says, this is the thing that you need to find, and this is what you're looking for. Okay, and so that dissolved from the real world, and then looking at each other, seeing each other, and also looking at your hands and seeing your own hands as though they were stormtrooper gloves, and have it in perfect fidelity. Yes. Yeah, it comes to belief.
So it is.
And then the door opens and K2SO is poking his head in the door and he's saying, come on, we've got a bit of a problem. And he steps back into space. And you step into the main area of the shuttle, and there's a bench that's there. And you're told, sit down. And in VR, you have to understand that normal things are hard and hard things are normal. But having the bench there and sitting down on it is a connection to the world. It lets you feel that the world is real, because in normal VR, if you see a bench, don't sit on it because you're just going to hit the floor. Right?
Exactly.
And you sit on this bench, and the bench is real because it's perfectly matched to the digital space, right? And you lean back, and there's a wall behind you, and it is real because it's perfectly matched to digital space. So, and people are talking within that space, and the space is just a little bit bigger. then as you're flying along, the shields on the windows at the front of the shuttle open up, and you are looking out onto Mustafar. And you see the lava fields, and it's all rendered amazingly in tremendous fidelity. And okay, now the world gets even bigger again, and the ship lands on the landing platform, and a skiff comes and backs up to the door that you're looking through, the window you're looking through. The door moves away, and all of a sudden you are told to step out of the shuttle and literally into the world.
Let me tell you, that gave me anxiety. I almost had a panic attack. Now I know I'm safe. Like my brain knows I'm not going to fall off of any what. But as I'm looking, I'm getting that trepidation of, am I okay to step on this thing? And then I'm having this great fight in my brain. Get on the thing. I don't know if I can trust the thing. You're in VR. You're in real world. I had a very small panic attack because it was so real. And Josh is like, just get on the thing. I'm like, just give me a minute, will you?
Well, and you step through the door, and when you step through the door, you feel the heat from the planet, and you can actually smell the planet. There's kind of a sulfur, kind of a campfire smell as you step onto the platform that engages you again with the surroundings. And you're right. Inside the VR world, you're standing on this skiff. It's just a platform. There's no railings because, I mean, Star Wars, they have no railings on anything.
Right, there are no railings.
There are no railings on anything. And it starts to fly away, and it's carrying you across the sky, and you're just standing on this platform that's, it's only like about 3 feet across, right? Maybe 5 feet deep. And it is absolutely frightening for people. They all huddle together and they hang on to each other, right? I mean, and as real as this,
lava.
No, you're over lava, and you can feel
flying over lava.
Yeah.
And as frightening as that is for the people. Oh yeah, full. But the thing is, for us who are like the guides that are taking people through the experience, we're seeing the guests, and it's just floor, right?
Exactly.
It's just
I would love to see
floor.
a behind the scenes video.
And it's just floor, and it actually extends quite a ways away, from this little piece of platform you think you're standing. And so we're watching people come, shuffle out of the shuttle and cling to each other on this little tiny piece of floor, right in the middle of this big stage. It's one of the most wonderful things for us to watch. And the second moment that for me in that really, again, is designed to connect you with the world. You go in the elevator, you go down into the depths of this Imperial base. You go down this pretty standard Imperial corridor. You can see troopers up above you walking on the walkways as they do. And then you go into a little room, and there are E11 blasters in racks on the wall. And every time I've watched this, it doesn't matter who they are, whenever they see a blaster on the wall, they reach out to touch it to see if it's real. And their hand connects with it, and they're astonished that it's actually there, and they can take it off the rack and use it. And they pull the trigger, because does it actually work? And yes, it fires and sets off the alarm. And
it's exactly what happens. Me pulled the trigger and set off the alarm. That's literally what happened.
Is that written into the scenario?
It is written into the scenario. We know that people are going to do it. And so it's written that if somebody pulls the trigger, then the alarms go off and you got to fight your way out. Okay. It is probably, it's one of our earlier experiences, but it's probably one of my favorites because it connects so well with people. It's such a great fulfillment of fantasy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we all wanted in the 80s. We all wore those Jedi underoos, and we played with our Star Wars figures trying to be in that movie. And you have given our childhood back to us. That's amazing.
It's so true. I have seen friends of mine, or people who have gone through the experience who've come to test it. I have seen them come out of it in tears because it was such a fulfillment for them to do that. We did it. One of our later experiences was the Jumanji experience that we did for Sony. We had originally done the Ghostbusters experience, and at the end of the Ghostbusters experience, of course you have to fight the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and there was a lot of marshmallow smell going on there at the end. It was great. But we'd
Hollywood.
Well, yes, it's Hollywood. It's
Hollywood, because they're redoing the Ghostbusters movie, right?
Well, that's true, and in fact, we did it originally in support of that, and we had originally done it in support of the movie that came out with McCarthy, but later on they wanted to update it, and they wanted to have a different opening sequence for it. And Dan Aykroyd volunteered to do the opening video for that. So I flew down to LA with our producer and line producer, and we go actually onto the Sony lot, and we're going to shoot this inside Ghost Corp headquarters on the Sony lot. And Dan's there, and they've got it all set up. I had been rewriting the script for this thing. I mean, our producer called me up like literally at 11 o'clock the night before and said, I need a rewrite. 3 o'clock in the morning, I rewrote the script again. We show up. I'm still doing rewrites right there as we're getting ready to shoot. And then everybody looks up, and Dan comes in and says, okay, who's the director? And I looked over at our line producer, and she shook her head, and I looked over at our producer, and he shook his head, and I said, I guess it's me. I'm it. So I get to go into this thing, and I get to direct Dan Aykroyd like Dan Aykroyd needs me directing him as Ray Stantz.
Right.
Seriously.
Right.
But I guess, I did, and it was awesome.
So do you have a SAG card? Are you listed as a director now?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not listed as director as a SAG card. Although I was invited to join SAG. I kind of feel badly I didn't at the time, because I was actually an extra in Alan Tudyk's online that he did.
The Conline?
Yeah, Con Man.
Is that what he called it?
Con
Man.
Yeah, Con Man. I think I was in episode 2 or 3. Okay, it's weird, but I called up. I saw that he was doing Con Man, so I called up, of all people, Felicia Day, who I know, and said, "Listen, do you know anybody on this production? I'd kind of like to, at least be in it somehow. Just come and like be an extra. It'd be fun." So she got me in touch with the production, and the producer said, "Oh yeah, sure, come on down." And I said, "Well, my wife and I are going to be down. We'll drive down and do it. It'll be fun." So we drove down and drove down to the shoot, which was a big convention shoot. It was supposed to be like a panel seminar thing. They had a stage in the front, and they had an audience, right, of local people who'd all dressed up as congoers. And I go there, and I'm thinking, where do you want me to sit? And the producer sees me coming in. He said, "Oh, I'm glad you're here." He said, "I have a line for you. I got you a line." Oh, whoa, okay, great. So they give me this line, and they sit me in here. They have me stand up. I deliver my line, right? And I, of course, I'm overthinking the whole thing. You know, it's like the line the line they gave me was something like, "Why did you say you hate the show?" Okay, and so I'm overthinking the whole thing. I'm thinking, "Why did you say you hate the show? Why did you say you hate the show? Why did you say you hate the show?" Okay, whatever. I get up, I deliver my line, I sit back down. They take me back the stage. They, costuming. Please, okay, whatever. And then they're putting me in the chair for makeup, and I'm sitting there. And Alan comes in with the producer, and he says, yeah, he's the guy who's delivering this line. And Alan says, no, I want him to do something else. I have something else for him to do. So all of a sudden, all my thespian work with this line is out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I go in and he says, yeah, I want you to be the MC. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, the thing is, the MC has no written lines in the script. They want me to write my own dialogue. Fortunately, I'm capable. So.
I was just about to say between being a writer and an author and then also being an MC in your own breakfast. I figured,
years.
yeah, you could probably do that.
Yeah.
So I did. I did. So I'm making up my own. I'm writing my own dialogue. And this is okay. This is great. To act in. And okay, I gotta tell you this. I gotta tell the story. So we're shooting the first part of the morning. We're shooting from the back forward, right? We're shooting all of Alan's delivery, and so the cameras and everything is back, and all the lighting's facing the stage, right? And it's all set to film the stage. And so I'm on, this going on and off, and okay, and I deliver my stuff, and okay, great. So then it's lunch. We all break for lunch. And I get to sit with like the real cast table for reasons. Yeah. And then it's after lunch, so we have to shoot the reverse, right? So we've got the camera up on the stage, they've got the dolly up on the stage, the lights are there, and we're shooting the audience reactions and also the audience lines from on the stage. But I still have to deliver my lines. Okay, fine. Well, prior to that, my exit had been down the staircase. There was a staircase mounted on the side of the stage, so I just go down the staircase. But now there's like, I don't know, a camera and lights and directors and grips and people over there. So I can't go. All right, well, it's about 3 feet off the stage, and I'm spry enough. I can get down from that. So I deliver my line, and I get off the stage. Well, we're in the middle of this. I said, oh, and I introduce Alan, his entrance, and Alan comes on, and I turn to leave. And Alan comes up to start delivering his line, and I forgot where I was. And I just step off the stage. And I'm falling through space.
The doctor is having a panic attack.
Into the void. I'm falling, and as fate would have it, there was a stack of hard shell light cases that had been stacked over there, and I pile into those with this just horrific noise. I vanish from the stage. You can hear all of the extras in the audience gasp. I hear Alan in the distance say, "Tracy?"
Ever the comedian.
I've fallen off the stage. I have fallen into these cases. My ankle is killing me. I have a gash in my shin that's bleeding. The producer rushes up to me and says, "Are you okay? Are you okay? I mean, hospital's not far from here. We can get you there." And I'm lying here on the ground, and I've been in production before, and I know that if they take me to the hospital, they're going to have to reshoot because I'm like in a lot of stuff, right?
Right.
So I stand up and I say,
Did you
I'm
get it?
fine. I'm just fine. I'm fine. Are you sure you're fine? I'm bleeding, right? But no, I'm fine. It's fine. Let's just go on. And so that's, that was my true thespian moment there. That I continued on despite bleeding and injury and
Very good.
and
The show
pain.
must go on.
The show did go on. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
My goodness. Wow.
I love hearing you speak.
That's so
I just
awesome.
love hearing stories.
Right.
Well,
Tracy.
My God, I tell stories. Actually, when we were at the Void, I was in charge of the background for the Void story, and I was always being called upon to like pitch the story, and I would go to Hollywood and I would pitch the story, right? And inside the company, they would say, "Oh, it's story time with Uncle Tracy. Let's all go listen to his story."
Well, I did want to just mention, Tracy, about the Void. We actually have a friend of ours who's been on the show a couple times. His name's Jason, and he has drawn so much inspiration from what you guys were doing at the Void, and he has several friends that he's been working with in his master's program, and he's actually going to school right now in his master's program to be able to design and develop virtual reality spaces in a historic setting. And he's actually going to go over to Greece and do a study abroad to be able to essentially, recreate the Temple of Athena and be able to see it in all of its glory and be able to touch artifacts and encounter that sort of thing. And a lot of that inspiration, he has said, has definitely come from conversations about the Void and that whole experience. And so I know earlier you were talking about finding hope and things like that. And what I think is great is even with the Void kind of in an opportunity for redevelopment and stuff like that, obviously people have found inspiration from that and have been able to take that and start designing their own worlds within that same kind of realm. And I think that that's a really, really cool experience. And if there's one thing that I think we've talked about several times with being a gaming group and being a group of friends and things like that, with all of the things that are going on around us, whether it be illness or just the world being, crazy or what have you, it's that it's interesting how you find what's important and you enhance your experience in those things, whether it be a relationship with someone, whether it be a passion project that you're working on or something like that. It's interesting how, when everything else kind of fades away, the things that are left are things that you really want to focus on and develop. Go ahead, Lance.
I like how as gamers, as storytellers, you can come up with an idea that someone else can just grab onto, and now you've kickstarted someone else's gaming system or someone else's thing based on just an idea you had at one point a long time ago.
Right, absolutely. Well, and it's so to segue. Thank you, Lance. Whether you did that on purpose or not, I love it. Tracy, you were talking to us a little bit before we got on the mics about some upcoming Kickstarters that you are going to be working on. So could you kind of elaborate and tell us a little bit more about that and what we can kind of look for in the near future?
Well, we're doing one currently, which is actually an XDM, Extreme Dungeon Master, Extreme Dungeon Mastery 2nd edition, because as we all know, whenever you're dealing with role-playing games, you have to have a 2nd edition. So we've decided we need a 2nd edition. Actually, I was looking at online. Someone pointed out to me that on Amazon several weeks back, a 1st edition Extreme Dungeon Mastery book that we published 12 years ago, I guess now, was going for like $900, and
wow,
yeah, it was $973 that you could buy it for on Amazon. And my first thought was whether I had any extra copies in my garage, but beyond that, I did not. In fact, I've only got this one copy, as far as I know, that I've been using and worried that it's going to come apart.
Now, I have a question about your copy.
Yeah.
Is it autographed by the author?
No, It is not autographed by the author. It is, however, autographed by the entire cast of the Guild.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I've got Felicia's
awesome.
autograph and everybody else in here as well. And
Real time, it is $949.99 on Amazon for the hardcover, or $7.95 for Kindle.
yes, so there is a disparity.
$7.95 for Kindle.
Yeah, there is a disparity,
Wow.
I think, in the valuation on those particular products.
It is Prime shipping though. if that
Oh
matters.
well, yeah,
Woo,
yeah.
woo. All right, get it here tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's funny. 'cause
So-
I'm looking across the table at one of the copies right here.
There you go. See, and everybody's calculating just how badly do I want to keep this. No,
Right.
because it was such a popular product, and in fact, there's a wonderful YouTube video that was done saying how it was a cornerstone of this guy's DMing and role playing. We simply decided that a second edition was due. And so right now on Kickstarter, we're doing a Kickstarter for Extreme Dungeon Mastery, XDM. In fact, you just go to Kickstarter and type in XDM, it'll come right up. And we're doing a second edition, and we're going to clean it up a little bit. We're actually going to take some time and edit it into English, which we did not really take that much time to do in the first edition. There's some new inclusions that are going to be in there, some wonderful new updated things that we're excited about. And that one actually is going to conclude here in just a few weeks. We've already funded it.
That's awesome.
Yep, Josh
That's
and I are both
awesome.
part of that.
That's
And
right.
we're trying to put some new stretch goals in there. I think an audio version by me is one of the stretch goals that we talked about.
Signed up already. Yep.
Sure.
And and I think I was also offering to do like a game for people, an XDM game for people online for some really exorbitant amount of money. Maybe, I don't know, the $973 that you would have paid for a
There
first
you go.
edition.
It's worth it.
You can either buy the old version on eBay for $1,000, or you can just buy the new one, and Tracy comes along with it.
Right.
There you go. See, so
It
so
sells itself.
we're just really very excited about this project and to get this back out in people's hands.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm really looking forward to that. I've
Yeah.
only got a couple more days, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's got a couple of weeks actually left to go.
Right. So
I may
time
be
of
wrong.
recording, we have. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen right now just to make sure. Time of recording, we have 16 days to go.
Yep.
So by the time this drops, it might be.
I always talk in release date.
Yeah. So it's supposed to conclude 16 days from today, or September 10, 2021.
Yep.
Yep. So-
Okay. Oh, well, look, let's just go ahead and tell everybody that it only has 2 days to go.
2 days.
Because-
2 days.
Jump
yeah.
on.
Yes.
Yeah, jump on now because
Get there
that's
now.
yeah.
And all the low tiers are gone, so you have to go for the higher ones.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
right. Or
That's
not.
it.
I'm not sure how that works. But that's what we're doing. I mean, Extreme Dungeon Mastery actually came out of my musings down through the years over the idea that people have forgotten how to play. That games had become so wrapped up in statistics and charts and tables and mechanics that people had forgotten how to adventure, how to be brave, how to do extraordinary things, because the game rules maybe didn't allow for it, or maybe they just simply constrained them to, well, you know, I have really good mastery of the longsword, so I guess I better use my longsword. You know, whatever happened.
Small room. You can't use a longsword. in a
You
small
can't
room.
use it. It's a really small room. Well, that's my office.
Right.
Yeah, and so XDM was an effort to take everything that I had learned about role playing and design and play in the role playing environment and bring it in under one place, under one roof. I mean, the book's got sections in it about how to use magic, and it details how to use stage magic inside the game. the pyrotechnic section is a little bit disconcerting, but but in terms of like the Campbellian monomyth and how to do story in game, all of those things I think developed over the years from our understanding of Dragonlance and what we learned creating Dragonlance. All of that has found its way into XDM, and so I'm really delighted that we'll be able to bring this back to people again.
And the artwork is just as funny as some of the stories in there.
Oh, the artwork's wonderful. Howard Taylor did such a tremendous job with the artwork, and is doing so again. In fact, I think that is also one of the stretch goals. Is he'll like draw your character for you.
Oh.
So for those looking or haven't looked at the Kickstarter yet, the two most basic at $20 you get a PDF copy of the book. For only $40 you get a PDF copy and the physical. Then it starts getting, they add book plates, or you get a book plate and you get him to sketch you for $70, I think is what is on here. So a lot of really good ones. What's this legendary XDM? Triple signed book plate, a not so secret history of extreme dungeon mastery. Oh, there's some really good stuff on here. And that last one, that 150 one's limited. Only a few spots left. So
and if we can think of anything else to sell, we'll certainly put it on there because I'll go in my basement, see what I can find. It'll be great.
You should do a $1,000 add-on that is the version from Amazon.
That is
Hey, I like that.
That's $1,000 Amazon gift card. That's
right.
Can
it's
only
funny
be used
too
for
what
the
I can.
transaction of XDM.
It's really funny what I can find. Actually, what I do find in my basement. We were cleaning the garage the other day, as a matter of fact, and I found a little carton out there that had original Verminard miniatures in it that had been rescued from the smelter before they melted everything down. And so, I'm thinking, well, all my kids have gone through college, so maybe I don't. Maybe I could sell those at this point. It'd be okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lance is like, hold on, let me find my checkbook.
Right. I know that there's an auction at Gen Con every year.
Oh.
Well, that's true. And my wife has lately been saying that we need to buy a cabin. So maybe
There's lots of property in Indiana.
I was say Brown County's beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
That's what I hear.
Just down the road from Gen Con, capital of the world.
That's right.
Oh, capital, yeah.
Speaking of
so this. Well, yeah, speaking of, actually, Laura and I are working on a new project, actually, that we will be kickstarting here in October. And we have been giving clues online about this. And so far, I think we've got 3 of them out currently, and it's actually a poem that we've been putting out.
The clues of the poem, or you're kickstarting a poem?
No, the clue. Yeah, I'm kickstarting a poem because everybody knows just how much everybody loves to kickstart poems. No,
give me $10 and I'll write another line.
That's right. No, this was it's actually clues as to what it is that we are doing. Okay. And because we're going to be releasing this a little bit later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, we're going to be releasing this. This is next week. Yes.
Well, I think so. Yes.
Well,
yes, that's the plan.
We're releasing it today for you listeners, but we recorded this a few days ago.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Time travel, difficult concept.
Yes.
I know. Yeah. So I'm going to read the whole poem.
Ooh. Exclusive.
So this is like, you guys are like the premiere of all of it. Nice. Okay. And this should give you an idea of what it is that we're building. Okay. Are we ready for this? Epic?
Oh, we're ready.
You may fire when ready.
Okay. Forsaken on the prison isle, our ancestors broke from their chains and keepers to forge survival from their ruined past. Yet our hearts still are fixed upon that empty horizon, above a treacherous sea, yearning for lands of which we've only dreamt. Long centuries past, the aeroships, imperial enforcers of our exile, silently vanished from the skies. To the winds, buccaneers, to the storm, sky raiders fly, on dragon's sylph to find our lost way back to that mythic place called home.
Well,
Sorry, I was busy writing as you were reading.
that's. I think Lord Byron would be proud. I'm just kidding.
Gee,
Oh,
I
that's
hope
awesome.
not. Byron's a real
That's-
problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is a fact.
No, we are
Oh, that's
going to be. Laura and I are creating. Laura and I are actually creating our first world together since Dragonlance.
Oh,
No
wow.
Oh
kidding.
man.
Wow, that's major.
Right. So is it you're creating effectively a campaign setting? I'm assuming that's not like system specific. So your own world, or are you writing like, are you going to write books in a new world?
I can't answer any of that right now.
The answer is yes to some of that, and not yet to the other.
Got
part.
it.
That's right. It's all
But
for
I can,
XPM
but I
too.
can tell you that we are producing this. The two of us are working with Joe Borey and Kim Borey, two friends of ours. Joe Borey, I worked with at the Void. He was a VR programmer there at the Void, and previous to that, he'd worked at Electronic Arts and a number of other game places. And we are developing a revolution in gaming, something I think that has not been seen before. And because you know that I am all about play, right?
Yes.
This is all about creating a play environment that has never been seen before.
All right, just take all my money now. Right? That
Wow.
pitch alone, I'm in. You need a backer.
We are going to need
That's-
backers. Please join us in October as
Oh, man.
as we premiere this absolute revolution in games. I'm very excited about it.
Gaming experience written by Tracy and Laura Hickman.
I
in.
I don't know what to expect, but I hope it's everything I think it is right now. Because one thing that we've talked about several times, especially when we've referred to the Void and we've talked about next generation gaming, that I have always wanted, and you know, it could be just another pipe dream, and this could not be related at all. But one thing that I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to play in a setting where I got a chance to look through the eyes of my character.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So much.
And so whether it is related or not, I feel like there's hope there, Tracy. There's hope there.
Those of you at home listening cannot see the giant smile on Tracy's face right now.
Yeah. So, you know, I've that has definitely been a subject of our conversation before, is being able to and I think so. What I think is really cool is the fact that we are all, you know, Tracy and the established facts and I think just in general right now, gamers, we're all kind of reinventing what we love. We're redefining and reinventing what we love about gaming and trying to enhance the experiences that we're having, whether it's at the table or in a 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional space, whatever that might be. And that's just really exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because especially after having a year where there was so many things that didn't happen or weren't able to happen, just the, you know, you said it several times. I've said it a couple of times now, but just the hope of what is to come, that anticipation of what is to come is extremely exciting to me. I think it's extremely exciting to all of us. I think that, you know, that whatever that ether is, whatever that universe
The
is,
next.
that whatever that next is really exciting, is really cool. And yeah, definitely. So October, do you know when the launch date for your Kickstarter is, Tracy?
I don't have the exact launch date. I'll be absolutely sure to get that to you guys, because
Yeah.
it's we need everybody to come in on this. We need everybody to give us the support that we're asking for, so that we can create the dream big.
Give Don what
as-
he wants. That's what Tracy's saying. Give Don
Yeah,
what he needs.
give
in
Don
this
what he
life.
needs. Absolutely. You know, there's the old saying, dream no small dreams, because they have not the power to move men's souls. And I have not been as excited about anything as much as I've been excited about this project. This project
Awesome.
has really got my heart, especially because it is a big dream. I believe this will set a new standard for what gaming has to be, and especially in this time when we need to get together and we need to connect in on a personal level. This is what I'm hoping for, and that's why I need backers to come in and help us make this dream real.
For sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and I know, you know, we have gotten a chance to talk about a ton. I know that there was also one thing that we really wanted to, outside of what we've gotten a chance. I mean, gosh,
Oh,
I feel like it's Christmas morning.
So much.
But we also wanted to talk to you a little bit about your new Dragonlance, specifically your new Dragonlance project.
Yeah. Speaking of stepping into the new.
Yes.
Well, and I think, again, this is a question of hope. This is and Margaret and I have wanted to thank the fans, and we felt like we needed to produce a capstone to Dragonlance, something that brings us all home again. And for many people, certainly it's true for Laura and myself, and for Margaret and I, the Dragonlance is very much home. There's the Larry Elmore painting of the heroes of the Lance all sitting around a campfire and looking in our direction. My son actually has the original of that.
Oh, that's cool.
Of that painting, and we refer to it as the family portrait.
Mm-hmm.
For us, that is home, and for Margaret and I, it's very much home. And for many people around the world who grew up, and the many whom we've heard from over the years, who have told us that they've gotten through the hard times of their youth by coming to Krynn. For us, it's important that we produce this series, these 3 books, for all of those people who have taken the journey with us, and to provide them a story that brings us all home again. Wizards of the Coast has asked that we produce it as a Dragonlance classic, whatever that means.
Okay.
And I don't know what they intend for the future of Dragonlance, at least in their eyes. I know that this series is what Margaret and I see in Dragonlance.
That's awesome.
And this series is the journey that we want people to join us on. We're just, it was so important to us that we fought to have these books written and produced. And it was a hard fight, but now they are coming, and as I mentioned to you earlier, the first 2 books are not only complete but copy edited. I mean, we're well down the road on those books, and the third one is the culmination of all of that. We're very excited to get to. But my understanding is the first book will be available next year, and we're very excited to have it come out.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
That we've got, Tracy, we've got several friends. I'm specifically thinking of our friend Danielle and our friend Bill that are huge Dragonlance fans. I think Jason is also a big, if he's not a Dragonlance fan, he's at least a Tracy Hickman fan. But,
Sure.
but I know that there are also, I've always thought it was really cool when people who are at some sort of a celebrity status share those same interests. I know I'm a big fan of like Joe Manganiello and how much he really loves the Dragonlance series, and he built like his evil paladin of Tiamat Archon and stuff like that for like
He'll put out a clothing line.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. But what I just think is so cool is how exciting it is that these characters and these stories cross the gambit of people. Like, you know, it's really a treasure to be able to see, you know, our friend Bill that we've known for years and years and years and we've played games with and stuff like that have just as much excitement and joy out of something that's a shared experience. That somebody who lives clear across the country, who is in movies and TV, but still really just loves and has a passion for that. And so it's really exciting to hear that there is, you know, regardless what happens after this series with those, that there is this new opportunity for a revisiting and a returning to those storylines and those characters and you know what we all really love about, you know, story time with Uncle Tracy.
That's right. That's right.
I really love hearing the emotion in your voice as you talk about it. I mean, you did say it was home and it's family, and it just comes out in the words that you use, in the way you say it. It's an emotional, almost spiritual, and I don't want to cross any boundaries here, connection to the world that you've created. It's like a kid of yours.
Well, it very much is. Oh, great! Spoiler alert. When Margaret wrote about Sturm on the Wall,
this is the story.
Yeah, when Margaret wrote about Sturm on the Wall, she could not see the screen in front of her because of the tears that she had. And she said it was a good thing she was a touch typist, or she never could have gotten through it. And the same with me. That moment was hugely difficult for us. For that matter, so was Flint. But you know, people wonder if it's really glib about that sort of thing. No, not at all. These are good friends of ours that we see move on. But we also know that the goodbye is part of life and part of the love that we have for those characters. But more than that, people come up to us at conventions very often and will start telling us about our books. And on the face of it, that seems a little ridiculous for people to try and tell us about what we wrote. But I've long since recognized that it's actually they're telling us about their performance of our words, which is unique to them.
Mm-hmm.
And every performance is different. John Steinbeck said there are as many books as there are readers because each reader creates it anew. And that is what we all share, is this creation of this world. That each of us who've read these books have created this world anew for ourselves. And it's a world that, even though each one is unique, it is a world that we all love and share. There's an article on my website that I posted not long ago about this very sort of experience of a warrior who had read our books and was inspired to do great things.
Yeah. So
but
that's what I was going to bring up at the end of this, but I'm going to go ahead and jump in right now.
Yes, please.
I got your books very early in my life. My name is Lance. My mom saw a book called Dragon Lance, knew I was into dragons and Dungeons and Dragons, and said, "Here's a book, read it." And that book has been with me all around the world. I'm a veteran of our military, and I've literally taken your words to other countries. I am a 2-time Afghanistan veteran. I'm also combat injured. Not that that matters much, but it does serve a purpose in this story. I also read a story that came from you and Margaret that involves Sturm and a fellow warrior. And I would just love for you to relay that story. Can you tell our listeners that story? Especially in light of what's going on in the world right now.
Especially in light of what's going on in the world right now, and what is not only the pain that we're seeing in Afghanistan right now, but the very real pain that's going on in Cuba right now that nobody seems to want to talk about. But in terms of Sturm, when we wrote Sturm, as I've said, we found it a very moving moment for us. But as with so many things, we write the written word and then we move on to the next word and continue, and the story continues on. And we tend to forget sometimes, although in terms of Sturm, he was difficult to forget. People often forget that Sturm's sacrifice took place in the second book, in the middle of the second book. And yet what he did has resonated down through everything we've written ever since. And Sturm was a knight who had believed himself to be a nobleman. And even though he hadn't taken the tests, even though he hadn't gone through all of the process, he believed himself in his heart to be noble. And when the time came, when the forces of darkness came and flooded into to assault the castle, and when all of the knighthood fled the wall, he stood alone in honor and died. And his sacrifice, his passing, so shamed and moved the knights that had fled that they turned around and remounted those walls, and inspired by that act, turned the tide and won the day. It was a great moment, and one that absolutely turned Dragonlance itself from adventure into something more for many, many people. But then you go on, and there are more books to be written and other things to do, and time passes. We weren't aware at the time of the young teenage boy who had picked up that book and read those passages and had been inspired by it. And as the years went by, we would go and we were doing a book tour, actually, and this was at Fort Lewis in Washington, and at the PX there. And we were told by the commander of the PX that this was not going to be like every other book signing that we had ever done, that people had been standing in line for some time to see us, that there were wives and families that were in line here to get books signed for their warriors who were overseas, and they didn't know if they would be coming back. That there were young warriors who would be in line that would be taking these books with them into battle, and they didn't know if they would be coming back. And so he asked for us a certain seriousness, I guess, as we approach this task. But as you stand in line, and there are about 500 people in line, as you sit behind that table, there's a different perspective. And Mark and I have always believed that you should give each moment, each person that's across the table from you, the moment. And they're usually very smart people, and they come and they know that they've only got a few moments with you here, and maybe they've stood in line for quite some time, but they know that their time with you is going to be very short. And they have so much to express to you in that short period of time, and they compress it all into that moment. All of that emotion and everything that they read and the importance of the word to them is put into that moment because it's all they have. And you have to give them that piece of you in that moment because they have brought your book to life, and they are the ones who have taken your words and turned them into something. But as you do this over and over again, you have these emotionally charged moments, one after another. And eventually it comes into a rhythm. You reach across the table and you take the book and you ask them what they liked or what their name is, maybe sign it to them, chat for just a second, ask a question, pass the book on, and reach across the table and take the next book. So I reached across the table and there was a young man in a wheelchair. He was a bit gaunt. And he handed me his copy of the Annotated Chronicles. He said, "This book has jumped with me from 30,000 feet. This book has been under the oceans with me. I take it everywhere." And he said, with a pause, and he said, "I was in Afghanistan. I was on point, and I got shot." He said, I looked across the valley and I could see the Taliban was setting up a mortar emplacement on the other side. And just at that moment, I was shot in the back, shattered his spine, actually. And he fell down, dropped to the ground. And his first thought when he hit the ground was, what would Sturm do? And that amazing warrior stood up with a shattered back and warned his squad. So sitting in his wheelchair across from me, he said, "This book saved about 12 men that day." And then he sat on the table and pushed these across the table to me. He said, "These are yours." His Purple Heart and his Bronze Star. And I keep these on my desk so I can see them every day. And remember why we write. We write to inspire amazing things in other people. We had just written some words. We had just written a story about this make-believe night. But this man took inspiration and hope from those words and turned them into something extraordinary. I remember him every day, because it's not just words that we say to each other. It's not just words that we talk about and stories that we tell each other. It's hope that we give each other. It's strength that we give each other. And it's action to do the right thing that we give to each other. So that's what I remember. And I'm grateful to you for your service over there. It was putting into action everything that you believe, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for your support. Thank you for that story. More importantly, thank you for your words. Every time I think of that, every time I even remotely remember it, I'm moved. And earlier I talked about how you have emotion in your words, and I'm sitting here holding back, weeping, because of the situation that I know he was in. And for him to come to what would Sturm do? It's an actual thing. It's a feeling. It's something that if you haven't been there, you can't understand. It's hard to even describe I need to do something because no one else can or no one else will. And if I don't, this happens. I love that you shared that story. I love that you've retold it here. Your words are words on a page, but they're more than that. They are in themselves inspiration. So thank you for your service.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I had not heard that story. I don't know if you had.
Nope. That's incredible. Yeah. Well.
So where can we reach you, Tracy?
Yeah. And on a lighter note.
Yeah.
That's
incredible. That's incredible. That's all I can say.
I had we have so many wonderful experiences with our fans, and the diversity of those fans always amazes me and delights and thrills me. Margaret and I were, I think it was at Gen Con actually, at one doing a signing, and we looked up and there was this mountainous man standing across the table from us. He was all in biker leathers, huge. He had the splayed out beard and the hair that was just wild, right? And I for a moment there, there was some part of me, thinking that this, who do I owe money to? And here was this, I mean, and the nicotine was just coming off of him in waves, but I'm looking up, from this table I'm sitting at, and I'm looking at these huge, powerful hands, and they've got a paperback of Autumn Twilight just curled in his hands. And I look up into this weathered face, and tears are streaming down his cheeks. And we could tell he was trying to speak. And when he finally was able to get it out, he said, this book taught me how to read.
Oh wow.
He'd seen the cover. He wanted to know what was inside, and he learned how to read so that he could experience that story
Wow.
with that book. And it was all we could do was stand up and throw our arms around him as best we could. He was huge, and just let him know how it all connected us. And it does. It just all connects us.
That's so cool. Wow.
How can
Wow,
we
that
connect
was
with you,
exciting.
Tracy?
What's that?
No, that was, man.
How can we connect with you? What are ways that people can get in touch with you?
People give us joy whenever we're able to meet in the convention setting, and in fact, my wife and I have started streaming on Wednesday nights now, just so that we can have a way to connect with people. But come, if nothing else, find me on Facebook, because I'm there, and it's a pretty easy connection, and I try to be as responsive as I possibly can there.
What platform are you streaming on, Tracy?
Lots. Actually, we simultaneously stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty spiffy actually that I can actually do that. And we do follow chat simultaneously from all three. So
That's awesome.
Come join us. I think it's Dragonhearth Live. You should be able to find us on any of those platforms, or certainly come to find me on Facebook, and we stream to there. It's a great way for us to connect during this time. And
you said
hopefully,
on Wednesday nights?
Yeah, Wednesday nights, 7:00 Mountain Time. I stream live, and then it's available, of course, in its recorded form after that. And we hope people will join us. We actually, it's a little odd. I suppose it seems odd, but if you happen to be in the Salt Lake area, and we stream it from Mythos Games here on 106 South, and anybody that shows up can sit down and play in my game.
Yeah.
We're running Extreme Dungeon Master.
I was just about
now.
to say that sounds like a road trip right there. That's
It is so awesome. We've actually had some people come in and come join us there. So we'll play all kinds of games. We'll probably we'll be playing XDM for a little while, but we'll probably also expand that to I don't know, something new that I'm working on as time goes by.
Check out Kickstarter coming October.
Yes, please join us at Kickstarter coming. I can't tell you how excited I am about this. It's not just a new world. It's in a way, it's coming home for us, and it's a new experience that we're trying to create here for everybody in gaming.
Wow.
And you got the poem, so hey, you got the advanced
That's
version
it.
of the poem. Yeah,
That's it. I'm excited.
Oh man.
Well,
I want some dragon silk.
everybody does. It's a big commodity.
That's it. Well, Tracy,
always a pleasure.
It's been incredible. It's been not just a pleasure. It's been so much fun sitting down and getting to rekindle this friendship that we have with you. We've missed the heck out of you for the last 3 years, and I hope and pray that that maybe Gen Con 2022 we'll get a chance to sit at a table together and break bread and talk a little bit and maybe have some breakfast.
And maybe have some breakfast. I'm actually planning on 2022.
Awesome.
We want to be there for 2022. Awesome. We want to be there for 2022 because we should have not only this new project available at 2022, but I'm thinking could be some Dragonlance available at 2022.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Well,
yes,
we would love for that to happen for sure.
It'll be a big party.
All right.
We're going to have a great time, guys.
Looking for group.
There you go. So, all right. Wow.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Hey, I'm
I'm-
sorry. I think you said you wanted like 10 minutes at the end. So
That's it.
That was it. Yeah.
That
You
was
got
it.
You got
He
it.
That
got it
was
times
it.
2, but he got it.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Okay. Well, as we do on our last episode 223, which I believe was our anniversary,
Part 1.
part 1 10-year anniversary episode at PopCon. We established 2 facts, and yeah. So Josh gave us one of our oldies but goodies. Be prepared to save your game, because if you fear the boot, you'll get kicked in the dice bags.
Aw, way
Right?
to reach
Yeah.
across
Right.
platform.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
across
yeah.
the platform.
That's it. And then for our new fact for our old new fact,
Our second.
the
new fact.
second
Yeah.
new
From
or
the
the
last
second old fact. For one of the facts that we did, even after 10 years, you can have new experiences, like having a roundtable discussion at a round table,
Yeah.
even a small one.
Yep. Couldn't believe it.
That's right. And for episode 224 of the Established Facts, we have 2 facts for
Oh.
this episode.
Well.
Because I had a really good one, and then the second half of our episode happened. So fact number 1: welcome to another episode of Story Time with Uncle Tracy, where Uncle Tracy tells us another incredible story.
I love it.
Yes. I went off of the welcome to Silly Songs with Larry from yes. Anyway, and then our second established fact, and probably the more important one. This one's for Sturm. Thank you guys so much
Bravo.
for joining us for episode 224 of the Established Facts. This has been us and Tracy Hickman just hanging out. We love you all, and we will check you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Deuces.